I've done videos on this before, and I've come to my own personal view about it as a black woman, that I believe that is because a lot, and I'm leaning towards most, but a lot of black women have bad attitudes. And I have experienced that even as a black woman, dealing with black women having bad attitudes. And this is coming from me as being a trainer, a coach. And sometimes I just feel like I can't tell you anything. Like, you already know it all. So I already know that there is some sort of conflict, but that's not all black women, but it's a lot. I know it's a lot. And it's also assumed that...
Now, you heard her say most. This is her list. This is her video, her topic. It's titled, Why Black Men Don't Date Black Women. She pointed out. She's not paraphrasing somebody else. And she listed this at the top. She started off talking about bad attitudes. And she's a black woman.
Having bad attitudes. And this is coming from me as being a trainer, a coach. And sometimes I just feel like I can't tell you anything. Like, you already know it all. So I already know that there is some sort of conflict, but that's not all black women, but it's a lot. I know it's a lot. And it's also assumed that as a black woman, that I believe that is because a lot, and I'm leaning towards most.
Yes, right. Yeah, you leaning towards most. Let's not backpedal and start using the word a lot. Let's say most. This is what's going on. When you talk to the black man, I'm not the one saying this. When you talk to them, you hear them online. They're everywhere talking. The number one thing they mention is attitude. So what is this attitude that they're talking about? The attitude is hatred, disrespect, sarcasm, being condescending, and just belittling black males. That's the biggest complaint. Where does that come from? Now you see the title. The title is Don't Hate Black Women. I know immediately a lot of people, men, be like, what you mean? Don't hate? What are you about to start talking about? Start buttering us up. Start simping, kissing black women's butt. Tell them, oh, that's your queen. Don't love them. You don't hate them. You got to love them. You got to uplift the black queen. Relax. What I'm saying is I don't believe that it's a good look. And I don't think it's beneficial. I think it's harmful to reflect the same energy that they give us. I don't even think that's the manly thing to do. I believe men are the natural leaders. Period. We are the true leaders. And it should always show in how we think, how we speak. You notice, men in general, we're wired for survival. Survival. More than anything else. It's a natural instinct. So the things that we decide to talk about and enforce, our ways of living, our lifestyle, should be always geared towards not only our personal survival, but our ability to pass something on to our offspring. Now, ex-black men, this is a human thing. A human thing. When you look at the black historical figures, you see black males supporting ideals that'll help black people stay in existence. For example, civil rights movement. You are fighting for laws and policies to enhance your quality of life to what? Ensure that you're able to pass something on to your offspring. Everything is always geared toward the maintenance of your physical existence. That's what men are preoccupied for. One thing that's mandatory is families, a family life. And black males have always supported ideas that help to support families. They preach that what we need to do, first of all, is strengthen families. If there's no family, there's no nothing. Ain't no community building. Everything starts with the family. And then it extends out to a community. Ain't no family. Ain't no community without a collection or a collective body of families on relatively the same code, the same page. And all of this is done to help keep groups on the planet as long as possible. This is just how it is. Now, with black women, like I've said several times, they are fighting. Black women are in a war, a spiritual war. Far more so than our black men. I don't believe black men are really having this spiritual war. I believe black women are wrestling with demons that do not possess black males. They are wrestling with demons that have been inherited that do not possess black males. And I mean that literally. Demons. When you're demonically possessed, the ultimate goal of the demon that possesses you is to destroy your physical body and in turn destroy your family. That's the ultimate goal of demonic possession. It's to kill life, destroy life, prevent life from reproducing. As leaders, you never promote ideas that will minimize reproduction, the reproduction of your group. When you find individuals supporting ideas that support minimizing the reproduction of a people, that is not a leader. It's a bad look for black men to try to reciprocate the negative, evil spirit that they complain about with black women so much. You eventually start to conjure up the same type of demons in yourselves. And I believe you should be above that. To reflect that same hatred is beneath you. This is just the way I see it. It's beneath a leader, a true leader. Instead, I wish the best for black women. Avoid them, that's different. You can avoid them without harboring hatred for them. I believe hatred for them as a group is going to hurt your ability to have relationships with any woman. It's going to hurt, it's going to hinder, it's going to thwart your ability to have a healthy relationship with any woman. It simply reduces the quality of your character, period, overall. And I think we should be above that. No matter how disappointed you are as a black man with black women, don't do that. It's sort of like the idea of, I respect you because I respect your father. I know your dad, so I'm going to do this for you. He was a good man. I know your mom's. She was a good woman. I'm going to show an amount of respect to black women because I respect their ancestors. I respect the ancestors of black women, which are also my ancestors. That has nothing to do with whether or not I'm going to be dating them or anything. So I'm saying to the black men who are done, who cut them off, many of them still harbor that hatred, still spewing. It only makes you a negative person like them. That's why these black women with this hatred for black men, they're single. They don't have no relationship with no man and can't when you're harboring hatred for your natural counterpart. That's a very abnormal thing for human beings to do. So when it comes to black women, I hope y'all able to heal, gain self-esteem, and, develop a better mental state, existence in general, at least for the boys that you're raising. I think it's also dangerous to spew hatred or venom or use the worst possible black women to make them the face of all black women, to constantly project black women in a derogatory way. I think it's dangerous for particular black women who are raising boys. They're in the privacy of their home. They could be doing anything to these boys, raising them any old kind of way. And they are. Our focus, in my opinion, no matter if you date black women or not, I feel like it's our responsibility to help ensure the existence of ourselves. And another thing, I've mentioned this before, many black males have a strong camaraderie with other black males. How strong can it be if you're supporting the eradication of black males? Like it or not, black men won't exist on this planet in the future without black women. That's just how it is. And being a proud black man, as many black men are, I would imagine that you would not do something like that, would not support the elimination of them, because those two just don't coexist. So as a leader, we have survival instincts. I believe everything that you advocate should help to ensure the physical survival of the group that you're leading. What type of leaders have black women produced? And let's get even deeper on a grassroots level. The most prominent, as far as I can remember, is Cynthia G. If I am mistaken, let me know. This is hands down the most supported black woman on the internet. I believe she was about to crack 200,000 subscribers. This was streamed a month ago. So in 30 days, look at all the supporters that came on here, all black women, already got over 1,000 comments. And this is just after one little old month. Video itself got over 54,000 views. This is one, and if it's not the number one, she's one of the top 3, hands down. So while black men have produced the Malcolm X's of the world, black men produce the Elijah Muhammad's of the world, the Martin Luther King Jr.'s of the world. Men who promoted and supported family life, taught family survival. What does one of their most prominent figureheads come out and promote? When they produce a leader, so-called leader, what is she talking about?
So we're here to feed the hungry and house the homeless, nothing ass bitch bandits. So now that I got out that way, no, but really.
Now, first of all, now you heard what she said. Nothing AB bandits. And it looked like she's gained weight. A head full of someone else's hair. A head full of someone else's hair. The hair from a woman who ain't black. That's for, and look at, she looked like she done gained weight. So you not leading nobody into self-esteem, proper value for self, or health, fitness. We can say that already before we even get started.
We know that one of the main tropes they use is that women are going to die alone. Shaming.
No, and that's not no trope that black men use. Notice everything that black men say to and about black women is in the interest of, or in hopes that black women improve in some way. It's never just to make mockery of them in some kind of way. She's leaving out. She's really talking about Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels had a no-nonsense, cutthroat approach to family. He only glorified marriage. Those are the behaviors of a true leader. What is she promoting? The opposite.
Women who are not married, who are not tied to some kind of bandit of some sort.
And understand, whenever these black men she's talking about, pointing out how they're single and going to die alone, they're also pointing out why they're single. And these things are all true because it came from the women's testimonies themselves. They're the ones. Kevin Samuels, his show confirmed the statistics that they're the ones leaving the men, divorcing the men. And you heard black woman after black woman after black woman telling you, I divorced him. I left the relationship. I thought I could do better.
I was actually playing around in dust on Instagram, and I'm having a conversation with a bandit, and it always comes up of, oh, are you married? You don't got no man. You don't have a ring. You're going to die alone. Nobody wants you. When the reality is men are the ones who...
And understand, when these black men talking about, hey, nobody wants you, you're going to die alone, they're also telling these black women, take your lazy butt to the gym. Stop eating crazy food. They're not telling you to continue eating crazy food or to continue sitting on your lazy butt. They're saying, hey, look at you. Y'all, for years, they've been talking about how they're single at a high rate because we so miserable. We so terrible and worthless. We had to just take it. Decade after decade, black men had to just take it. Yeah, I know we're horrible. Yeah, I know we run away from fatherhood. Yeah, yeah, I know. We're devils. We're demons. We're the lowest of the low. Run away. We're gangsters. All we do is shoot and drug deal. And then when more information came out, we learned that it was all propaganda. Yeah, we're bums. That's another one. You need to work. Y'all need to get a job. Get a job. You need to work. Y'all need to learn how to keep a job. And we found out we are keeping jobs. Pretty effective in the workforce. So all the complaints that they had turned out to be lies that they never bothered to confirm. Just believed them on face value.
Who are dying alone, specifically black men. Men are the ones who are lonely, because to me, I believe men are by nature codependent. Based on my research, a huge part of men's identity is women needing them. which I think is also a part of their codependency. And I think that this needs to be out there. I think women, especially black women, need to divorce themselves from thinking that they need to be tethered to a man or a relationship. We've been sold that our
So she preaches, you don't need no man doctrine. You don't need no man. Now, you tell me if that will help a people's the reproduction or existence, the survival of a people. Preaching to the women, you don't need a man. She's basically saying, hey, go out, thought around, do your thought thing when you're young, and when you get old, just depend on toys. Basically what she's saying. That's the doctrine of the leader that they produced, not only produced, support heavy.
goal should be to get married.
Even they invited a lunatic like this on Fox Soul. So it's not just the hood rats who admire Cynthia G.
To a man to have children, but in reality, none of these make women happy. Women are said.
She's saying marriage don't make women happy. Having a husband don't make women happy. Does this sound like a leader to you?
To not really need to be in long-term relationships. Men do. When they're not, their health declines. So
she said women don't need to be in long-term relationships. She also preaches this doctrine that being a single mother is no different from being married with children.
Specifically black men. Men are the ones who are lonely, because to me, I believe men are by nature codependent. Based on my research, a huge part of men's identity is women needing them.
Is that not a huge part of women's identity? She's all done up with a few layers of makeup on her face for who? So she can look good in front of a bunch of men. Women are far more preoccupied. Their behavior is far more dictated on the belief that on the desire to attract men's attention. So what is she talking about? Another thing. She mentions how we talk about women all the time. You're supposed to. Life is about relationships with other people. What is she talking about? She's talking as if relationships are harmful. Being married is, detrimental to black women. That's her doctrine. Some leader y'all done produced.
So we're here to feed the hungry.
Whoa.
A huge part of men's identity is women needing them, which I think is also a part of their codependency. And I think that this needs to be out there. I think women...
That's not even a part of our identity. We don't walk around saying that women need us. That's crazy. Now, we all know this is Cynthia G. She blurts out a bunch of lies and a bunch of stuff that just don't make no sense. She is one of the most illogical people I've ever listened to. Listen to her to make your head hurt. Very, very illogical woman.
And especially black women need to divorce themselves from thinking that they need to be tethered to a man or a relationship. We've been sold that our goal should be to get married to a man, to have children. But in reality, none of these make women happy. Women are said to not really need to.
If being married, being in a family doesn't make you happy, you have mental problems. Now, Cynthia G herself is a single mother who went out and got knocked up by a Dusty after she started this tirade against black males, as we all know. Right? This is the leader, the grassroots black female leader that's been produced.
Be in long-term relationships, men do. When they're not, their health declines. So essentially, women being in a relationship with men benefits men. It's you're doing them a favor essentially by being with them, because you increase their lifespan, they decrease yours.
Now, first of all, men don't go into relationships with women with that in mind. Nobody thinking, oh, this is going to increase my lifespan. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So, no, X that off the record. What else is she talking about? She does this. She makes stuff up. She'll even make up desires that men have that she ain't never heard no man say in her life. And that's one of them. We walk around with a big head, our nose in the air, talking about how women need us. No, we don't.
You help them to build up wealth, they decline your wealth.
She said they help us to build up wealth. How? When we got a slew of black women who talk about how they don't want to work, especially after they have kids. Speaking of having kids, that's part of the reason why y'all have to be more dependent on men than men are on. You can't make this up. Wait a minute.
A favor essentially by being with them, because you increase their lifespan, they decrease yours. You help them to build up wealth.
How many black men do you think? I mean, look at how many black men are losing money because they was in a relationship. But however, take your pick, whether it be child support, whether it be they're in a relationship and they constantly spending. How on earth do having a woman increase your bank account, grow your bank account? It drains your bank. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Help us build wealth? No. We find ourselves spending more money. We'd save money if you wasn't around. What are you talking about, goofball? This is y'all leader? Okay.
They decline your wealth. So women being in a relationship with men just benefits men. And I think that needs to be put out there to kind of remove
just benefits men. Listen, my whole life, listen, my grandfather made 90% of the money and paid about 100% of the bills. This is a common narrative in black families. What is she talking about? What in the world is she talking? She's not even making sense. And this is why these women love her so much, because she get up here and babble. They'll make no sense. As long as she's saying something anti-black male, they're happy. Wait a minute.
Increase their lifespan, they decrease yours. You help them to build up wealth, they decline your wealth. So women being in a relationship with men just benefits men.
We decline black women's wealth? Man, woman after woman. And even the women who said, yeah, I'm willing to work after I'm married and after I have kids, they will still say that they don't want to pay even half of the bills. What is she talking? And listen, let's be honest. Most of those women actually finesse that arrangement with the men that they're with. Those men end up paying either 100%, at the very least, more than 50% of all the bills. All the bills. How on earth are they building our wealth? And how are we draining their wealth? You cannot make this up.
Men. And I think that needs to be put out there to kind of remove the leverage that these bandits think they have, to remove their power, because they have a lot of power.
So her goal is to remove our power. Some leader. Where this going to lead us to? Where this going to lead black people to?
Or by way of women's desire to be married and in unions that don't really make them happy. It doesn't really fulfill women. And I think women should go seek their own fulfillment and decenter men center themselves, stop focusing on what can I do to please a man, what can I do to get a man, and concentrate and focus on yourself, because every piece of statistical data literally says that you don't need a man. And I think men are realizing that, and it's causing some kind of psychological trauma wrapped up in cognition.
How? Listen to this lunacy. They don't need us. Now, they've already conducted a study that showed if both men and women were stripped of everything in society, that women would not even live to the end of their natural life, but men would. Men are going to build the shelters. They're going to build shelter. They're going to figure out how to build fires. They're going to hunt. They're going to cultivate, going to protect what they have. You understand? She's saying women don't need the men, the very men who built the entire civilization. Everything you see around you, built by men, they don't need men. The same women who saying, I don't want to work after I'm married, I don't want to work after I have kids. Okay.
Cognitive dissonance. So that's what I think.
See, Cynthia G is an articulate hood rat. She's a hood rat who can speak well. I've seen many of them throughout my life. Now, there's another point in this video where she spazzes out and shows her leadership.
Them, i.e. need them. Because we know women have just recently gained a tiny bit of liberation by way of being able to work, being able to have a bank account, being able to own homes, being able to have...
Who prevented you from having that in the first place? Men? If you don't need men, why is your existence so dictated by men and what men say? This is lunacy. It's not even reality here.
Custody of their own children. So women, since the inception of the U.S., sorry, my camera is just like driving me nuts here. Women, since the inception of
who in the world preaches that one gender don't need the other? Now, men don't need women to live to the end of our natural life. Men don't need women for that. Men do need women to have a future family, to have kids, grandkids, great grandkids. Anybody not interested in preserving the future generation, in my mind, is demented. You're insane. You're not even a human. That's subhuman talk. Nothing, no living thing, nowhere tries to exterminate themselves. Okay, this is their leader.
The U.S. until recently, I think as recent as the late 60s or 70s, have had to be tethered to a man. They've had to, in order to own anything, in order to have access to their children, in order to have access to any resources. They got that by way of men. What I think was lacking is that men didn't understand how much them creating the women being dependent on them, forced dependent on them, have made them dependent on women. Beyond the fact that you obviously need a woman to birth you into existence, men are heavily
okay, you hear the insanity here.
Dependent on women. Women are literally nearly 100% of what men talk about and discuss. The reason they want money, the reason they want celebrity, all of it is focused around women. So I think if women think about the degree to which men are needy on them, then you can get your power.
You can get your power?
You can get your leverage your power, ladies.
What? Leverage your what power? To do what? To get to mooch, to freeload. What she's saying is realize how much men want women and use that to your advantage to get stuff out of them. Money. Free this. Free. Obviously. What else could she be talking about? Leverage your power. Don't build families. Stay single and just use what? Sex to get what you want. She's basically promotes being a thought, being a prostitute, essentially. And this is their leader that they propped up to heaven.
They need you more than you need them. And
We need women more than women need us. Why are you even making that comparison? Why is that even a discussion? And it's not even true. Women actually need men more than men need women. If you're talking about which gender needs the other, men would live at least to the end of our natural life. Before women would even die, they would need something from us. Something. This is madness. But that's feminism.
that's essentially what the articles are saying.
Yeah. And so
And
it's
who is this dude with the lisp? He is quite moist. So no wonder he brought her on and did an interview for her. So really, this is their leader who they propped up. I'm blown
find
away.
that to be useful. Find that to be useful or not useful?
Not useful, because a war implies both sides are fighting and have equal chances of winning, and that's not the situation that black men are in. They're just not. So I don't even think there will really be a race war, and I really find it to be just dumb when they even mention that, because it's like,
Black men don't be talking about having no race war. Black men don't talk. If we do, we're talking about how white supremacists always talking about a race war. They're the ones always going on about that. What is she even talking about? She's delusional. And I guess that's why she gets so much support. Race? What? Okay.
like, what do you mean? Like, I don't want to say, because then everybody's going to be bringing up Haiti and the Haitians, and y'all are not the Haitians. The reality
We are not the Haitians.
of it is, in this country, black men have never went to war, all out war against their oppressors.
Listen to this. This is their leader who don't even have proper knowledge of history. Listen, you don't find not even YouTube black males talking this delusional. Unless they've been groomed by women like her. We can't even count how many times black males, and she's talking about black American males. This not including the Caribbeans or Africa. Blacks in the diaspora. Seeing black American males has never gone to war with our oppressors. That's either true or false. With false, right? It not only went on all throughout the period of slavery, non-stop, all throughout the period of slavery, also after slavery, most notably during the 60s and 70s. That was real. I'm not talking about Martin Luther King's marches. I'm talking about the actual burnings, the actual warfare. There were military black men from the military out there. There were people being sniped during the 60s and 70s. Them riots all throughout the United States. Yeah, they were. What you talking about? Some leader.
They've never done that. So to think that they're somehow going
So
to now.
her rhetoric based on lies and untruths. Sound familiar? She is a direct product of that white racist demon. It's literally inside of her. Literally. And she's not alone. That demon in her, that anti-black male, anti-black demon, is what attracts so many black women to her. Oh, yeah. The truth is the truth. I'm just telling you what's there.
Decide to go to war with the very men who they have been reliant upon to provide them with desirable women and all of their necessities.
White men provide us with desirable women. What is she talking about? She said we're dependent on white men. Dependent on white men. When ever since we've been here, they've been dependent on us. And they've only been able to use the threat of a gun, using a gun, to use us. And they have never used or have been dependent on all of us. They've never had power over all black males. Okay, so she's also pushing this false history of all black men were enslaved and none of them fought back. 100% of the black male population just scared and meek and humble and shaking and trembling. Yes, sir, massa.
It's just foolish. Like, really?
And I don't even know what she's talking about here. The girl is so delusional. It's scary.
How did Cynthia G go from where she was to where she is now? And that's not a question that I see people asking, but it's a question they should be asking. Because from her to go from where she was to where she is now, like if somebody sounds like Malcolm X one day and then a year later they sound like David Duke, you got to say, what the hell happened? Because there's a lot of sisters out there that are nowhere near Malcolm X. So if Cynthia G could be radicalized, if there's some catalyst that can shift her from there to where she is now, what risk exists to poison other black women against black men?
Did y'all get that? If a black woman can be radicalized like Cynthia G was before her war on black males, and we remember how she was talking, if she can go from that to what she is now, that can happen to any of them. Because again, most black women are not where Cynthia G projected herself to be back when she was a black radical. Most black women don't talk like Cynthia G used to talk. So what does that tell you? It was all an act. It never touched her. Just like that Black is Beautiful movement. It never touched them. It never possessed them. It never gave them a new spirit. You understand? We're dealing with really in the spiritual realm. It did not, those movements did not give them a new spirit. The radical stuff she was talking years ago, that was never her true, genuine spirit or energy. So, what guarantees? See, this puts a lot of doubt in black men's minds. Because they can say to themselves, hey, if I find a black woman that's on code, I'll be good. No. She might just be acting like Cynthia G was. Like that other black girl was. What was that girl's name? who got ran off of YouTube
because I've already.
She got busted in a strip club. Y'all remember, she had locks and whatnot. Got busted and ran up you. But before that, she was all pro-black, and she was like one of those soulful, incense burning pro-black girls, acting just to get a man. But when Cynthia G got to the point in her life where she couldn't get a man, she just lost her mind. The point here is, what kind of leader is this?
Told you guys about black men. I've already told you guys that everything that black men do is basically a circus act. The way that they will talk about being kings, but they have no kingdom.
Now we don't talk like that. We don't call ourselves kings. I don't even like when people call me king. I ain't never called no black man king. Never. I don't even know what she's talking about. Another one of those moments where she's just making stuff up. You really want to duplicate this energy? You really want to reflect this? No. That's beneath you. That's beneath us, man. Do not be a male version of Cynthia G.
You mean like black women talk about being queens and don't have no queendom or no king? Got it.
You big dummy.
Okay. I didn't have to show that. We know her rhetoric.
The circumstances for black women who are married with children is not different than the circumstances for single mothers. That's the thing. It's not different.
I heard what she said. She's once again speaking against marriage. That's what she's talking about. She's speaking against marriage. You're better off staying single.
Circumstances for black women who are married with children is not different than the circumstances for single mothers. That's the thing. It's not different.
It's not different. Here, believe it, I've seen several couples where the man paying for everything. You saying that life is no different from a life where you got to pay for everything? Yeah, life is the same. When you have to financially support your 3 kids by yourself, it ain't no different than when a man financially supporting at least 50%. And we all know they usually support all of the ladies' kids. These men who have stepped in and took care of other people's, other men's kids, they're being spit on, highly disrespected. Okay, this is their leader.
It may appear to be different when you're in that marriage, but when you get out, emphasis on the when you get out. Your circumstance is about to match that single mother. And you can sit up there and say baby mama as much as you want to and say you an ex-wife. Who cares? You're in the same position that she's in. You ain't one up.
And she said, when you leave, when you get divorced, when you get out of that relationship, she's saying your relationship with a black man whose baby you've had, she's saying it will end. But what she also acknowledges is that most likely she's going to leave him. Women file for what? Some 80% of divorces. Women file some 80% of all divorces. The same is true with relationships. They usually leave the man. You know how we all know that? Because thousands of them have admitted to it. So what kind of leadership is this? This is not the type of, if you reflect this energy, you're going to lower your overall value. Lower your overall value. The women who support Cynthia G and the Cynthia G worshipers, all I can say to young black males, be highly selective. If you're going to date a black woman, you better know whether or not she's safe or not. Because it's dangerous to date a black woman like this, who absorbed this type of rhetoric. A black woman like that, man, she liable to set you up to be killed just to get your insurance money. You probably got a good job, a good life insurance policy. She make arrangements to have you hit by a truck or something. You fall asleep one night, don't wake up. You can't be in no home with a woman who harbor this type of deep hatred for you, who genuinely views you as less than. That's very dangerous. And it won't do nothing but produce a toxic, if you have kids with her, that's going to be a toxic family. Because she's going to want to, I mean, let's face it, she's going to most likely want to leave you and get that money up out of you, that child support up out of you. So no, we should not try to match their energy. I view that hatred that just came out of nowhere as demonic. It's demonic energy. I've known some hateful, violent black women in my time. Quite often, it was the women who sparked off the physical violence and the verbal venom. I believe they're dealing with demons. Now, we all dealing with demons, all groups. That includes black males. I don't believe black males carry this anti-black female demon, but it can be conjured up. We can conjure up that same type of demented energy that they possess. And I'm telling you, all that's going to do is make it more difficult for you to have a relationship with any woman. Any woman. It's better, if you're not going to date black women, it's better to go into relationships with other races of women without any animosity or hatred for black women at all. Be like, look, I wish them all the best. You know, we couldn't see eye to eye. I think, you know, they got, or a good deal of them, too high of a percentage of them have too many issues, and leave it at that. Wish the best for them and move on about your relationship. You don't tarnish your own character. And that's, if you ask me, what it ultimately does for you when you go around trying to reflect that same hateful energy that we've gotten from them. Like it or not, I know a lot of people don't like to hear it, but there has been narratives, beliefs, there have been things said about black men that have circulated through whatever percentage of black female population it was, that you didn't hear circulating among black males. To this day, I have not heard black men together talking about how black girls should be aborted. That comes from somewhere. Ideologies like that come from somewhere. Abort black boys. Another thing, and this is real bad with black women, the need to be right, the belief that they're never wrong. That's very strong. And it's to the point of delusion. We all know that. They will argue and argue and argue and argue just to be right. You don't want to reflect that. You don't want to do you think this is going to make you a better man if you start doing that? You only devalue yourself when you try to reflect that sick energy. Don't do it. Don't do it. There's a lot of different things that we shouldn't reflect that not only comes from black women, come from all groups. You just got to know what energy to embrace and what energy not to embrace. As men, we're about survival. And I don't care. Listen, you cannot take this hatred that comes from them personally. It doesn't come from a mentally healthy place. It's not like they naturally, without any outside, contribution, develop some deep-seated hatred for black males. We're wired for survival. Don't let anything knock you out of that mind state. Cause you to function like you're not a man. When you start to promote death or the extermination of your group, you're not functioning like a true man. You can't let nobody knock you out of that. That's why, despite all the criticism, and Kevin Samuels was one of ours, he consumed let me make that straight. Kevin Samuels consumed the manosphere content, which I also contributed to. Regardless of all that, what was he promoting? Marriage. Because that's what life is about. Passing something on to your kids. And they passing something on to their kids. Wealth, homes, giving them a leg up, increasing the chances that they live a quality life. That's what life is all about, where eventually your family is wealthy. You have inherited family wealth. Maybe you inherited a business, multiple businesses, like many families do. It's all about getting to that point. If you don't promote that, then you're promoting a subhuman existence. That's Cynthia G. You're promoting destruction, period. What she promoted was Margaret Sanger level stuff. 100% through and through, she spews white supremacist, white racist rhetoric. The destruction, the physical eradication of black people as a whole. That alone, it disqualifies you more than anything else from being a leader. Why is black men's position or job as leader, why is it being challenged is the bigger question. Why has it become questioned? The objective is supposed to be what I just explained. Strong families, marriage. Another thing Kevin Samuels spoke against was having your whole period, the thought period of your life. He spoke against that. Like, ladies, when you're young, get married young. Don't go sleeping around with a bunch of men, as many men as you can, during your 20s. Then come 30, most likely after you've already had a child or more, you start looking for a man. Now you figure out then it's a whole lot harder to find a man, especially a husband, when you're in your 30s with kids. So he was promoting our survival, our continued survival, because the bottom line is all groups go extinct. We're all going to go extinct, but nobody's fighting for it. We would be fighting for it if the Cynthia G's of the world were the leaders. So I think the people who support Cynthia G need to get help. I'm on record saying that if I don't marry I'm just a cultured person. I've tried interracial. It's just not for me. And plus, I have political views. I mean, how likely do you think it is my non-black wife, my white wife, or whatever, is going to support my support of reparations? That's just bringing in more problems. Relationships are difficult enough as it is. I'm just not willing to include those problems as well, as that's what it is. And again, like I said, I'm a cultured person. A lot of black men are like this. But that don't mean I'm going to sit back, single and alone, until I find a black wife. So it's up to you. I'm not going to preach to black males to not date black women. I'm not going to sit here and tell black men to avoid dating black men. Why? Because that's unrealistic. There will never be a shortage of black men willing to, couple or copulate with black women. All groups, because of the closeness, the proximity, the black people are concentrated in communities, large communities all across the country. Some black people very rarely even see white people. That's unrealistic, and it's a waste of breath to preach it. All I can suggest is that you better be careful. Don't get with no black woman. Now, this is rule number 1. Black males, young black men, listen closely here. I don't care how attractive she is. I don't care how good a shape she in. Do never, never, never date a black woman who refers to black men as niggas. She is possessed by that demon. I'm telling you now, she's possessed by that demon. Do not mess around with black women who refer to black men as niggas. None of them. You got to be very careful. And there's a whole lot of things you need to watch out for. Do not get no woman who's hostile, who has temper issues, aggression issues. It's only going to get worse for you. And listen, you shouldn't, if you need somebody to tell you what to look out for, then you in bad shape already. I trust that on cold black males will know better. And here's the thing. I sympathize with black men who want black sons, who want sons that look like them. Because as we were growing up, we always fantasized about having a son. And before we got into the things we're in now, we never thought of race. A lot of us, we've only envisioned being married with a black wife. Like, it's just not, being married with a family with a different race of woman just didn't pop in the minds of a lot of black men. And that helped shape the mentality of a lot of black men. So a lot of black men are like, hey, if I'm gonna have kids, have a family, I want black children. I sympathize with that. And I can understand that. Look, if you can deal with it, get a black woman from the diaspora. You can do that. That's always an option. But understand, something that's rampant through a lot of black women in the diaspora too is to look at you as less than. That's something no matter what, black men have to accept. Being treated, it's not so much as looked at, being treated as less than. Y'all all know the zaddy worship in a lot of these women from the Caribbean and Africa's on a level that's hard to find in black Americans. So good luck with that too. Black men, no matter who we get with, we're going to be looked at in some type of stereotypical way. We all got to accept that. Even if they're looking at us as the Mandingo buck. You know, no matter how we slice it, black males are sexualized. Many women, including black women, when they see us, all they see is a large tool, a X machine, right? As men primarily occupied with, getting it on with women. And some of these non-black women, they'll get with us. And they'll look at it as, hey, it's a sexual relationship. It's raunchy. It's all about being raunchy. And not so much, you're not so much looked at as a sophisticated husband, So in many cases, even if you don't date black women, you're not being viewed as the quality man that you may be. And that's just something a lot of black men have to deal with and try to navigate through. But during the 80s, during the 90s, there's a lot of complaint about black men, about how there's a shortage of black men because most of us are gangsters, in jail, and whatnot. We're uneducated. Y'all remember that? They were talking about how far more black women were in college. So the idea was we're more successful. We're more financially stable. Right? That's what was going around. That was the key thing about feminism. We're more successful than black men because more of us are in offices. More of us have desk jobs. More of us have degrees, which people turned out to be a bunch of nonsense. Maybe more black women do have degrees, but they were not more financially successful than black men on average. They simply weren't. We had to deal with that. But the problem is that period of time, it shaped them. They, in a sense, were conjuring up a spirit, feeding into a lie, feeding into lies as if they're true, conjures up spirits. It created an energy in them to look at us as less than, whether it be lazy or dumb. That's what it really ultimately, probably more than anything, did. It started to, more black women started to look at us and deal with us and treat us as if we were less intelligent. They felt more motivated to try to exercise intellectual superiority over black males. You start talking, they overtalk you. They cut you off. They overtalk you. Try to assume the authority position in the conversation. Oh, pipe down, dumb black boy. You're just an X machine and you're dumb with no degree. Be quiet. It shaped the mentality of an entire generation of black females to be disrespectful. It worked to ultimately tarnish black male, black female relationships. That was the whole goal, and it worked. And understand, right before all this propaganda began. Understand too, during that time they was talking about us as predators, monsters, super predators, and all this kind of stuff. Right before all this started, what was going on in the United States? Riots, civil rights movements. Right before all of this propaganda, black males and black females were at least working together to a much larger extent than you see today. We're more so on the same page. We're talking about the 70s, 60s, 50s. How in the world could a bunch of propaganda like that surface? Around the 80s, suddenly black men are horrible. Here come the color purple. Here come Oprah, black men, a horrible bunch of abusers. Oh, and they don't get degrees, they're dumb and all this kind of stuff. I'm telling you, listen, leaders never cooperate with agendas to exterminate the group they belong to. I'm sorry, you just can't be a man if you do that. So my hope is the same hope that many other black men have, that black males and females can heal themselves. Black men got some, we got to fix ourselves up too. But I think black women deal with a lot of issues that black men don't really deal with. And this is what's been frustrating for black men. We have been trying to point out these agendas to black women for decades so that we don't fall into these traps. But yet it keeps happening over and over. Black woman, I want y'all to reflect on how you used to look on average. Black men too, but there's more black men in shape today than black women. I'm mindful of it every time I go out. Sometimes at one time, I see at least 100 black people. A lot of black people in the area where I live. And I have counted more than once. Let me see how many in shape. Let me see how many black men I see who are not obese. I always count more males than females. Just a few little decades ago, the average black woman was not obese. What happened? What happened? R.I.P. to Mr. Samuels used to refer to Soul Train a lot. Yeah, let's look at Soul Train. This is one of black men's complaints. Get control of your diet. Exercise discipline in your diet. Become more active. What's the end result of that? Is it the extermination of black women? If they do what we're instructed them to do, would they have a worse life or an improved quality of life? Black men's so-called complaints have all been in the interest of helping black women. Black men, for the record, have tremendous hearts. And I'm not going to let no black woman try to say otherwise. Black men have tremendous hearts. You hear them everywhere. Black woman, you got to get your weight under control. You're hanging over the side there. Your back is you got two backs. A back on top of your back. You got a stomach underneath your stomach. You got to do something about that. You're dropping off, you're 65, you're having a heart attack. Huh? You ain't number 50 years old. You're having a heart attack, high blood pressure. You got to get that under control. So that's clearly advice that would help black women's life and would also help what? The overall existence of that group. If you have an unhealthy group of males and females or females, if they get in shape and correct that problem, that will help ensure their existence on the planet. What else do black men so-called complain about? I'm saying black men ain't never spewed hatred. Even after we acquired a voice with the internet, the worst you hear is black men saying, I ain't dating them no more. Get me a passport. I'm going to focus on women who are not black American. We ain't never been out here talking about how we ain't never co-signed with no stereotype. Blindly accepted fake statistics. What other complaint other than the weight, which is a real problem? I mean, a real problem. Let's not skip past that, black woman. Count the number of obese women that you would catch among black American females. Just average random groups of them. Random groups of them. You can't do this today, where you find slender, slim, healthy black woman back to back to back to back to back to back to back. What happened to you? Something happened. And that's all black men been saying. Black men, because they are wired for survival, have a stronger instinct to look at the entire scope of history to determine what's going on today. There's all types of agendas to destroy black Americans. We are a group under attack still. It was overt attack when they invaded our homeland here, the United States. And it never stopped. They still have the worst possible projections of us on TV in entertainment. The goal is to ultimately destroy us, drive us into extinction. That's why they're trying to lay claim to the things we've created, so that when we're gone, they will benefit as if they invented it. Again, early 1900s, random groups of black females you find back to back, slender. Look how they posing for the photos. It's not just your weight that has deteriorated. Your character is deteriorated. Take your pick, any era before feminism. Black women had a different spirit. Now understand, it was corrupted even before feminism. But it got a lot worse. This is what we keep saying. Over time, we're getting worse and worse and worse. Once again, back to back to back. Every now and then you will see a heavy set. And she's not even that heavy set. She's probably the biggest one in this photo. She ain't that big herself. They're not bending over, putting their butt in the air for the camera. What has happened? You're possessed by demons. And I'm telling y'all, you're having demons literally instilled into your body through your music, through your cultural icons, which is nothing but puppets. Puppets who literally worship demons. It's the world we live in. There are agendas in this world against us. Right now, we're looking at the attempted replacement of us. They're not playing no games. These foreigners are not being brought in. They're being brought in to replace us. They're being brought in against us. This is in your face warfare against Black Americans, knowing that we're owed reparations. They say instead, we're going to give foreign, just come over here in the boatloads and we're just going to give you literal money. You think that's going to increase the quality of our existence? Or make it more difficult for us? Again, early 1900s. Yeah, you may have had your perms and whatnot. Look at how you dressed. Look at how slim they were on average. Why? You should be motivated based on the fact that you know there's an agenda for you to exist the way you exist today. There's an agenda for you to be big, heavy, single, struggling, viewed as the least desired woman on the earth. This is all by design. And it doesn't even have to be intentional. When you live in another group's land, you're going to be neglected. They're going to project their own kind on you. They're going to make their beauty the standard. It's up to you how much you internalize other people's standards. Because you got to show a lot of mental strength to reject other people's standards when it's being projected to you. But look at how easy and simple it is. You're opening the door for other people to project their standard on you. They didn't make you purchase that television. They didn't force you to turn it on or to put it on that particular channel. You have access to DVDs, VCRs. You want to cultivate your own beauty standard? Well, knock yourself out. You choose to idolize other beauty standards. See, Black males are trying to counter that. The Black is Beautiful movement, was that a harmful movement for Black women? Do you think it reduced the quality of Black women's existence or enhanced it? Again, notice how Black men don't preach anything harmful, hateful, hurtful. Everything they complain about, everything we complain about, even with the Black men, I don't care how cutthroat they may seem, they're all doing it to help you. This Black woman that I showed at the beginning, let me show you something else she said that I want to respond to.
Hi.
That she mentioned, where she talks about hate. Listen to this.
When it's constructive, and opening my heart to receive love and be ready for love, but I hadn't been prepared for this level of hatred to Black women, and I just really want to understand it, because I understand you may have, like I said, have some bad experience, but to just hate an entire group of women, because Black women actually value Black men. And then I have to dig into that too, because now I'm starting to wonder.
Well, listen. a lot of black men are tired of hearing that. They're tired of hearing this idea that black women value black men. Because if black men don't feel valued, then it's justified to question your alleged value for them. Actions speak louder than words. If you value black men, don't help to get them shot in the back. Don't help dump false propaganda on them. Don't push falsehoods. Stop lying on them. Stop blaming them for relationships ending. The number of relationships that were ended by black women, where at first they tried to project the idea that the man was in the wrong and all this, is ridiculous. Again, Kevin Samuels exposed this. Stop tarnishing black men's image. Black men are not out trying to tarnish black women's image. They're pointing out how black woman, you're tarnishing your own image. Whereas black women was out calling us bums, dusties, you don't care about your kids, you run away from kids, co-signing with lies. It's not going to make them feel valued. On top of the fact that only black men are niggas. You see, I don't want to hear nothing about the B word, because both black men and black women are called the B word in the black community. All other racists, they refer to both black men, all black people, as niggas. But among the black community, that only applies to the males. It's always been this anti-male sort of culture in the black population. But don't say that. That's not what you do with a man. That's not how you treat or deal with a man you claim to value.
I really do value black men, because I say value because a lot of black women don't date outside their race because they want a black man.
No. That was another lie that had started. Don't date outside their race because they value black men. No, they just know that they have the best chance of getting a man if they date black men. They know black men are the ones most likely to view them as attractive. They know that black men, on average, have a higher or greater appreciation for their beauty than other men. The close proximity. We got a unique culture, swagger, slang, sense of humor. We're unique. So it was just a familiarity thing. It had nothing to do with, I value. If it did, there would have never been a swirl movement that was so embraced. And no other group of women had a swirl movement where they was throwing themselves at white men. Not even Asian women do that. And Asian women love white men. Asian women in America, I believe it's a huge percentage of them that's married to white men. They love white men. But they never just threw themselves at white men via talking about how horrible Asian men are. The whole rationale behind the swirl movement was that black men are so inadequate, locked up in jail on the DL, and all of it was lies. There's a difference here. Don't give me that. That we so loyal to black men. All these books and articles All this shameful swirling, throwing yourself at the feet. Oh, please, white man, come get us. Come approach us. Because see what they've thought when they heard white men say that they would date a black woman, just been scared to approach them. That's how it all started. Black women went online like, hey, just approach us. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. We're welcome to you. They're throwing themselves at them. And we all know many of them were doing it in a way that was just unbelievably just degrading. But that would have never happened if this value that she talked about was so prevalent amongst the black female population. Come on.
The black women don't date outside their race because they want a black man, but then find most black men unattractive. So basically based on
find most black men unattractive. I've heard black women talk about this before. I've heard black women say that the average black man is unattractive, and that the average white man, the average Latino man, the average whatever man, as long as he's not black, the average of those men look more attractive, is more attractive than the average black man. I have heard that before. And that is worth pointing out, because there is a part of that demonic spirit in black women is this desire to have the child of a non-black man to get that ugliness out, to enhance their attractiveness. Okay, that's that racist spirit. That's that racist spirit. Simply put, black people, we have our own beauty. We got our own type of attractiveness. And it's not based on anybody else's beauty standard. As it is, that anti-black spirit, what it does, it makes black people with Euro features the most attractive of black people. I've heard white supremacists talk about this. He's like, look at the black people. They confirm their inferiority because the most celebrated black people are the black people who look like white people with dark skin. Okay?
dating apps, they have shown that most black women, or women in general, find most men unattractive. Almost 85% of men on these dating apps, women find them unattractive. So 15% of the men that are actually attractive, all of us think are attractive. So that person has, to pick, this wide net. They could pick whoever they want. And that means that we're dating the same little small group of people. And so I understand that people have, a preference. But to just say, shut up, I hate you, I really have my passport, it's like. So anyhow, I think the black women do value.
She ain't heard that nowhere. Oh, shut up, I hate you. Stop. All that other stuff, yeah. You know what that is? That's not hatred. It's they feel betrayed. I'm talking about all of them. Every black man you hear on the internet complaining about black women nonstop. They simply feel betrayed. You got to remember, black males, and this is a huge difference. On average, black males have far more race pride. When you talk about people who get into historical figures in books and stuff by like John Henry Clark and stuff like that, it's usually black men. It's almost always black men. Black men have on average, a lot more race pride. I mean, a lot more race pride. So when they see these black women, this goofy squirrel movement, they just feel disgusted. And some of the things that they actually say, I mean, man, you have no idea. It's not hatred. When you feel betrayed by someone who you thought was your teammate, I mean, could you imagine the LA Lakers, one of their players started shooting points for the other team? Yeah, they're going to spaz out on that player. Not because they hate him personally. It's like, what are you doing? Are you out of your mind? You out of your flipping mind? You don't function like our enemy. Do you know how much easier it is for a cop to shoot a black man if there are a bunch of black women saying, yeah, they need to be shot. They deserve to be shot. Bullet bags. Yeah, they are criminals. Yeah, they do run away from their kids. That also helps make it easier for a racist to kill a black man. And I'm saying a racist cop because the information from the FBI has been put out years ago. Police departments all across the country have been infiltrated or flooded with real bona fide white supremacists who gain rank by killing and harming black people. This is a reality. You don't put out narratives like that to further demonize us. At that point, you're functioning like black men's enemy. And black men have been responding to that. We have not been just out of nowhere coming out here spewing hatred. Oh, abort black women. Oh, you bum, you need to work. We'll tell you need to take your butt to the gym. Stop sitting around all the time. But that can be proven to be a fact. When 80% of you overweight and 80% of that is obese, you do need to go to the gym. You do need to stop scuffing down all that garbage food and take better care of yourself. Only somebody who really care about you would tell you to take better care of yourself. You see, the Hollywood ain't. They prop up people like Lizzo and whatnot. They want you to be in that. They want you to be undesirable. And she was up there talking about these date naps. And how black women will view most of the men as unattractive. Even though many of these black women are overweight and obese. You know, I was looking at this article earlier about the qualities you need to be a leader. I hope I still got it, because I want to show y'all something here where they list some qualities that, a leader needs. And they claim to have taken this survey. I don't believe them. Where they're saying that women possess traits to be leaders. Notice how they put up honest. See this? Honest. Men 20%, women 50%. More people think that women are more honest than men. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Boy, women lie as a team. They'll get on code quick and lie when it's a group of them, and everybody will co-sign with the lie. As many times as we heard black women, and you can see them all over these apps, calling themselves fit or athletic. You look at the picture, they're obese. How many women did Kevin Samuels catch lying, given their dress size and weight? Lying. And then the woman would turn around and admit that she was lying. How many of them been busted? Lying, period. You're not going to tell me, no, that's a lie. That women are more honest. And man, please. Sometimes you can put the truth right in front of them. They'll still deny it. Still had this need to be right. Intelligent. Really? Women more intelligent than men? You think that apply? This is feminism, by the way. More intelligent? Look at this one at the bottom. Creative. Now, we're in the danger zone now. Women are more creative and intelligent. Okay, so tell me this. Who's responsible for the majority of inventions, whether white men invented it or black men? I'm telling you now, almost 100% of black inventors are males. Almost 100% of white inventors are males. Don't talk to me about creativity. Men are nothing but creative and fantasize. That's part of our natural instinct to envision, imagine, make a blueprint, then create, build. And then y'all trying to say women possess more? Show me. Where are the inventions? Don't show me one inventor or two. Show me where a majority of inventors have been the women. Now, who's more qualified to be a leader? Isn't the group more qualified to be a leader? The group who can do things like that? Because when you can envision and be creative and build and create things, now you can take care of a family, facilitate life, improve your quality of life. Look at this, hardworking, saying it's 50-50. Now, going back, I want to deal with this hardworking thing. Shouldn't the leader be a very dedicated worker? I mean, physical worker. Even you're talking about business ownership, entrepreneurship, it almost always involves some type of physical labor, at least in the early goings. What I've noticed in life over my 46 years is the same thing that Kevin Samuels pointed out. 40 hours drains most women. Can we talk about it? Is this off limits? 40 hours drains most women. Let's go a step further. 40 hours of manual labor. Lifting drains even more women. Let's go a step further. I'm 46. I've worked in the automotive industry since I was 20. Let me tell you something. The workers who called off the most were the women. I've gone several entire years without missing a day, without calling off a day. We use a point system at my job. Y'all know what a point system is. I stay at 0. They give us 8 points to use, meaning you can call off 8 times a year. But if you miss work a 9th time, you're fired. Most people linger around, they have a lot of points. Most jobs I've been at, the workers who usually use FMLA were the women. And remember, I've been in the automotive industry that requires a lot of daily physical manual labor. So what are we talking about? I think this can literally be proven. Who's more fit to be a leader? And I'm talking about leadership. Because I believe this era of black males, they're not going to tolerate They're not willing to be the type of black males that existed a couple generations back. Just willing to just step in, take care of you, take care of your kids. Just willing to accept you being overweight, being obese. Okay, we are in serious times. I'm telling you. Listen, I don't mind going extinct. Like I said, it's a part of nature. But when you're actively striving to speed up the process, right? When you actually, running a race to get there fast, like immediately, nah. No afterlife for people like that. You know, you can't be granted an afterlife if you're advocating for the eradication of the very group you belong to. You know how long of a lineage you're talking about? For those of you, do you know? For those of you who are like this demonic, I got this demonic spirit in you. If you're a black American, you know how many generations of your ancestors were also black? And you want to actively fight towards being the generation that ends it all? And again, that's just for the people who are actively saying, don't date black men, don't date black women. That's crazy to me. Shortage of good black men. There's never been a shortage of good black men. We've all been hearing that our whole life. But what's a good man? What's a good black man? Isn't that a black man with a job? When they say we're all a good black man, or like they were saying during the 80s and 90s, what were they talking about? What made a black man a good black man? Wasn't it that he had a bunch of money and was willing to give you some of it? Spend it on you? We all know that's what defined a good man. Whether or not he was willing to, and I'm talking about black man. It's all about whether or not he was willing to take care of you, let you sit at home and all day, every day, and not have to work. So there's always been this, this lowly thinking about black men. Now, we've always been looked at as just a group to use for money, but look down on the genes we pass on to our kids that you're going to call your kids. Look down on that. And the primary motivation to have our kids is to draw government benefits and unemployment after you decide to leave because you want to, sleep around with different men again. What was really heartbreaking about all those interviews conducted by Kevin Samuels was how easily it was for so many black women to leave their kid's father over extremely petty reasons, so willing to break up a family, all because they look down on fatherhood so much. View fathers as unnecessary, not needed. AC really recently showed a video from the 80s where they was talking, and this was black women in the 80s saying fathers are not that necessary. Fathers are not necessary. I can raise my son by myself. This was a culture, a powerful narrative that came through the black female population. You don't need a man. You don't need a man. You can do it all by yourself. I remember I told my sister, I was like, our mother, she don't know how to raise a boy into a man. And my sister lightweight got offended. I'm like, don't say that. She literally said that. Yeah, don't say that. Now, had I said that me as a man, I can't raise a girl into a woman, I don't think I would have got any pushback. because I can't. Black men are willing to say that. We're willing to say, if I got a daughter, it will help her to have that female energy. It's not preferred for me to be a single father and raise my daughter. I'd rather it be me, my daughter, my daughter's mother. We never look down on motherhood. You know how serious that is? That a narrative was run to this day. Far too many black women look down on fatherhood, allergic to it, hate it, don't like it, don't want it in their home, don't want no element of a father with authority, black man. That really turns so many of them off. For a black man to start speaking as if he's in a position of authority, speaking with authority, it almost gets immediate pushback. Like, who do you think you are? You still a nigga. You still the lowest of the low at the bottom of the totem pole. And that attitude is what it plays a huge role in breaking up black couples and preventing black males and females from getting together, period. Black women have to completely turn against all doctrine of feminism if black Americans are to survive. I see that as the most important thing that needs to happen if black Americans are going to survive. I mean no amount of feminism. Your mindset should be family over everything. Finding a husband, creating a family, and growing old. And then passing something valuable to your offspring. I believe people with a culture, people who are cultured, I believe they have higher quality communities and homes. Because a strong, identifiable culture helps to strengthen the bond between the individuals within the culture. And people with a tighter bond are always going to be more prosperous. That opens the door for a lot of different things. Creativity, of course, business, etc. But it has to be that way. That way or nothing. Feminism, all doctrine of feminism is anti-life. Black women need to understand this. And anybody, any woman who co-sign with feminism, y'all need to always be mindful of our natural roles and always operate based on our natural roles. Natural roles meaning what would be our status if we didn't have a system to dictate? If we were thrown back into the Stone Age, would you need a man then? Would you feel like you need a man then? That study that they did where they wanted to see if black men, or they wanted to see if men and women, how long they could survive without each other if they were thrown back in the Stone Age. The women were about ready to die. And at the same time, the men were hunting, chilling, had shelter. It's good to go. The women were facing death, extinction. And that was just for a little while. I don't even think that didn't even last a year. It's like a few months they conducted that. Could you imagine how different it would have been after a few years? They would have most likely perished, the women. At any point, it could go back to that. Also, the natural role of the male is to sacrifice himself for his family. That needs to be respected. The fact that we're expected to sacrifice ourselves first needs to be respected. I use this analogy, I've been using it for years. I'm the one, by the way, who created that viral video on black men vents. That video titled, "Men Are the Prize." Somebody break into the home? The woman is not going downstairs to confront the invader. The kids are not going downstairs to confront them. The woman's not the one who's going to exit the bedroom and tell her husband to lock the door and stay in there. The man is expected to sacrifice his life first. The woman and child only gets attacked if the intruder gets past the man. That's why we deserve to be the leaders of the household. We're more likely to be honest. Another reason why we're the leaders of the household. We have more self-discipline. Another reason we're the leaders of the household. No matter how you slice it. You know what the women are leaders of? Motherhood. Motherhood. Women teach the children how to love on a deep level. That's what you're the leader of. And it's a powerful role. Don't get blinded just because men create stuff that you can see. And, the fact that it takes two to produce life, why do you feel inferior if you're not the leader? Why would you even want to be the leader if you don't possess superior physical strength than men? Do y'all really want to be that's what they want. They want to call the shots in the house, be able to boss the man around like he's some type of slave, right? Feel like they got the authority. You want it that way? How backwards is that? But suit yourself. Black Americans will just go extinct a whole lot sooner than later. So, I'm going to sum this up by saying that, black males, I think it's a waste of energy to preach to other black males how important it is to not date black women. I think that's a waste of valuable energy because that's never going to happen. There's always going to be black males and black females getting together and getting it on. So why waste energy that's like trying to preach a dream that's not even possible. That's not possible. And even if it were, why would you want all black men to avoid all black women? You know what that would do? That's right there would be the final generation of black America, including black men, that you may claim to value so much. No matter, like it or not, if you value black males, you can't value them if you're supporting their extermination. Simple as that. And we can't this idea that as long as you got a black father, that you're going to have a black kid, please stop with that. Stop. Okay, let's say I get with Becky. Me and Becky have a son. My son, I have a biracial son now. realistically. But according to y'all, I got a black son? Okay. Let's see my black son go out and get him a Becky. He's going to have another black son? That's what you're telling me? Okay, have him go out and get him a Becky. That's going to be another black son? Really? So I'm going to have black male, grandsons, black grandsons that don't even look black, that really look white. By that third, fourth grandson, that baby gonna be white. What y'all talking about? That's not true. In order for black men to remain on this planet, you need black mothers. Don't be stupid. Now, some of you may say, hey, yeah, I'll go get a black woman from the Caribbean, from Africa. Okay, fine. But at least make sense. And I don't care if you go get a white girl or Latina girl. Okay, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. Do whatever you want to do. But don't blow smoke up my butt. Don't lie to me. Don't come telling me you got a black son. No, you got a biracial son. Don't try to erase your son's mother just because she ain't black. The word biracial, that's not an insult. I cannot stand that Umar Johnson nonsense rhetoric. How he's one of those people who be running around here talking about how his biracial women are black women. Biracial or black. I don't understand that. I get the logic. They say, oh, well, the system considers them black. No, they don't. No, they don't. White people ain't dumb. They know the difference between a biracial person and a black person. Nobody's dumb. Don't tell me that two things are the same when I'm sitting and looking at them and they different. Where did that come from? That came from the Hebrew Israelites, if I'm not mistaken. This idea, as long as your father is black, then the child is going to be. What in the world? Dude, y'all have seen kids, biracial kids from black fathers, haven't you? What are you talking about? And listen, if you don't value whatever ethnic group you are a member of, I feel sorry for you. And the existence of if there's ever a bunch of people like you who don't value the ethnic group you belong to, y'all's end is coming very soon. It is as simple as that. And I'm telling you now, black men universally, they might not say it, what ticks them off more than anything is this sense that they get from black women that black women don't value being black. Maybe can't put it into words, but that ticks them off. They look and they see a black person living like as if they're anti-black, and it so rubs them the wrong way. And this needs to be put out there because you don't want to go around rubbing your natural counterpart the wrong way. I know a lot of black women, they hate to hear it. But black men are most likely to date you, to marry you. And it's like, it's extreme. If you want to be married, which many of you should be married, especially when you're growing old. Do you know how valuable a husband is when you barely getting around? You can barely stand up. You can barely stay on your feet too long. You know how valuable a man is when you don't possess any motivation to stay in shape? Why haven't y'all put y'all's weight problem in check yet? Demonstrate that leadership for us. Show us that discipline. Listen, bottom line, no discipline, no leader. No discipline, no leader. I'll go 24 hours with no food right now. Can you? As it is, I go 20 hours every day with no food. Try it. Show me some self-discipline. Is it in you? Change your diet. You get a cheat meal once a year. Once every 6 months. Let's see you do it. With nobody around. Ain't nobody here to ridicule me if I eat a pizza. I still ain't doing it. If I have kids, they're going to be healthy. They're not going to be obese a day in their life. And they're going to be used to moving every day. Going to be allergic to sitting still too long because of what their father put in them. Y'all going to have to respect fathers, period. And the power we bring to families, the discipline we bring, you're going to have to respect it for us to survive, period. We bring too much valuable things to not be the leaders. What are you talking about? Some of the great black females of history. Just keep in mind, it's hard to find any of them that just wasn't regurgitating what black men were saying. Continuing the work of some black man somewhere. What, Shahrazad Ali? We all know she was just repeating the doctrine of the Nation of Islam. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, right? R.I.P. to her. Very valuable book. That was my first book I ever purchased, was the ISIS Papers. She was continuing the work of Neely Fuller. She basically based everything off the work of Neely Fuller. But if you don't value what, your men bring to the table, there's nothing anybody can say to you. A lot of black men confused. Like, how can you not value being a black American? How's that not even possible for you to not value being a black American? We are a historic group. Known around the world. A lot of groups are not known around the world. Y'all know that now. There are dozens of tribes, ethnic groups in Africa and Asia. We ain't even never heard of. Nan one of them never heard of us. How can you not be proud to be a black American? People around saying we don't have culture and all this kind of stuff. But yet everywhere we go, people know we're black American. We don't have cultural identity, but as soon as people hear us talk, they know we black American. So, listen, we are an ethnic group. You don't value having an ethnicity? Yeah. Some people just don't value nothing. No matter how great their history is, they don't value it. Now, with the people like that, there's nothing you can tell them. They're just destined to go extinct. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It is what it is. But that's where it's headed. Because I don't see things getting better. You got different classes and whatnot. Listen, in the hood, there's always going to be reproduction. There's nothing you can do. And I respect the hoods. I know a lot of people object to me saying that. But I'm not saying that I respect the degeneracy in the hoods. But when you get somebody in the hood, somebody who grew up in the ghettos, say the projects or whatever, if they make it out, they're usually a more well-rounded person than one born with a silver spoon in their mouth. They got more life experience, more experience with wider variety of people and attitudes. And they usually end up being a lot more durable. Because you got to exercise more self-discipline than a person with a silver spoon in their mouth. A lot of your peers you got to separate from. You got to dissociate yourself from negative surroundings and certain people, certain groups. And I respect that. You know, I sort of idolize people like Greg Mathis, people who came from the bottom and worked their way up. And on top of that, let's be honest. Listen, the majority of people in the hoods are decent people. I don't like the way black communities are projected as war zones. I don't like it. Most black males in the hood, they don't have it in them to go around shooting people. Most of them ain't even fired a gun. They might be out with the pants sagging and whatnot, but these ain't no real thugs. And a lot of powerful people come out the hoods. Ain't that what the Bible talk about a lot? Not just the Bible. Or the Quran or something. One of them. Talking about how leaders are always chosen from the bottom. Who was that talking that? That was Louis Farrakhan, I think. Right? Louis Farrakhan. Now, since I'm here, Elijah Muhammad. Let me touch on Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad had a lot of influence in my life. And a lot of people, you know, they got certain feelings about Elijah Muhammad. Primarily because of his doctrine of the white race being a race of devils. That's what Elijah Muhammad said. Now, the white race is a race of devils. And because that rubbed a lot of black Americans the wrong way, a lot of black Americans turned against him. 100%. But I believe there was some truth in what he was saying. While all white people are not devils, or not evil people, of course, we all know that. No group is 100% evil or wicked or racist. There is a group among them called racists who I believe have a devil inside them. I don't care what nobody say. Racist, true, bona fide, white, these are evil people. Just flat out evil. And remember, many of them literally are Satanists. And they don't hide it. They don't make no bones about it. Evil is all get up. If you're talking about white supremacists, they've already carried out many terrorist attacks. Like, what are you talking about? Of course, these are evil people. That's a unique type of demon you got in yourself that black Americans don't have. We got our own demons, but we don't have that. Well, we just want to kill black people just because they black. No, that's a demon. That's a demonic spirit. And it will help you to be mindful of it. If not, you're going to be some delusional fool who don't see the signs and red flags, and you're going to go on a hunting trip with a bunch of racists, and they're going to blow your goofy brains out. You out trying to be We Are the World and colorblind, trying to tell yourself how false it is that anybody is a devil. Hey, all the 100% of all groups ain't devils, but there's devils in all groups. There are devils in all groups. Whether they was manufactured, self-manufactured, or manufactured from the influence of an outside group. That's just how it is. This also this idea that Cynthia G pushes, that they can easily marry some other race of man. Well, you can. You've always had the freedom to do that. But you also got to look at the fact that many of these other groups, they look at you in a stereotypical way. Look at you as a fetish, as some type of plaything. I've shared dozens of stories. Many of them, they're just playing around with you. Just playing the game. Hey, if you're okay with that, knock yourself out. But that's a sad existence, where you'd rather be somebody's side piece. You'd rather be somebody's baby mama than their husband. And why are so many black women allergic to marriage? And I'm asking because so many of the women file for divorces. What is it about marriage that they want to run away from? And I'm talking about those who, ended the relationship because they thought they could do better. Even the ones where their man cheated. I don't think you should break up no family because your husband cheated. No. You shouldn't have to destroy that structure because of your husband cheated. Why should the kid's life be impacted negatively because he cheated? And I'm not saying that they should have free reign to cheat. That's a personal thing. Groups do all kind of crazy. Couples do all kind of crazy stuff. Sometimes they have open relationships, whatever. But it's too easy. If you ask me, it's too easy for too many black women to just want to be single, to not want to be in a family structure. That's what life is about. Life is about families. What makes you desire to not be in one? You heard Cynthia say being married doesn't make us happy. We don't want to believe that, but that's what it looks like. It looks like once they're married, they become unhappy. Why? Why does it seem like they're much happier being unmarried and bouncing from man to man? Why is that looked at as the happiest time in your life? That's backwards. However we became backwards, forget about it. Just recognize you got a backwards way of thinking and make the adjustments. What else do you have to do but improve yourself? Nothing else to do. What you got planned? Lose the weight. Put an end to this stupid weave culture. Okay? It's disgraceful. It's bad for the mental health of young kids, black kids. It's horrible. It's destructive for the mental health of all black people, period. Your husband ain't got no business looking at you like that. That messes his brain up. Looking at you with bundles and a head full of some other races of woman hair. If your man like that, he getting all into that, he got issues too. If he'd rather see you covered in somebody else's literal DNA, he need therapy too. Get rid of that. Take care of yourself. We up here telling them to take better care of themselves. Is that something that a person who hates you would say? Y'all got to stop with this black male hate. I ain't seen black men voicing no hatred. Now, saying that all black girls need to be aborted, that's hatred. Co-signing with negative stereotypes with no evidence to support it, just supporting it just because it's anti-black female, that's hatred. And it's childish. It's not intellectual. Again, that's why you don't want to reflect that same energy that they're giving us. You sound like a fool. A self-hating fool. And I don't care that the world is sitting back listening or looking at nothing. I don't care about what other people are talking about. I heard that recently. Somebody talking about, I don't like seeing black people going at each other online and on the internet. Going at each other. Hey, they shouldn't go at each other. What are you talking about? Oh, and that shows that black people are dysfunctional. Because they're the only group online on the internet going at each other. Not going at each other. We got issues. We got problems. And we're willing to talk about it online. All groups got problems. The ones who online talking about them in the interest of eradicating them, you should applaud them. You think it's better to have a bunch of problems and never talk about it? Some of these issues really can't be talked about in person. A group setting just wouldn't allow it. Even myself, I've been sitting here talking well over an hour, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. If I was in a room full of people, I'd have been cut off so many times, lost my train of thought so many times. I can't talk around people in person. They ain't gonna listen. So what are you looking at here? You're looking at a group of people, us, black Americans, who is serious about improving ourselves. Nothing negative about that. Nothing negative about that. Okay, look at this. Imagine this scenario. It is a fact that the majority of predators are white males. I don't want to say the word, but it starts with a P also. Okay? Another word that starts with a P, ends with a E, sometimes, and the act ends with an A. That's almost exclusively a white male thing. I've heard many stories from white females, many stories of where they were, done wrong by their father, family member, some guy. Would y'all look at white people as dysfunctional if they were talking about it online? I don't. That would look constructive. Everybody knows about it anyways. It's not like they're revealing something about white men that we don't know about. But if I saw white men and white women online lecturing about how bad it is and how it needs to stop, ain't nothing wrong with that. It ain't nothing wrong with us. Everybody see our problems. Everybody see black women with weave in their head and obese. Everybody see the propaganda. They see everything. The fact that we willing to talk about it, try to get some resolution, does not reflect badly on us. I need black people, man. stop looking at everything about us in a negative way, please. Please stop doing that. I was watching this video earlier today. There's this white girl online. She calls herself Booty Pre, right? She calls herself Booty Pre. Now I was watching the video earlier. I'm about to see if I can find it because I wanna share it here. And she makes videos she makes videos every day trying to uplift black men. It's the funniest thing in the world. And it looks like I can't find this doggone video. But she'll hit record and she'll say something like, "Black man, I just want you to know that you are important. You are special. You are someone and you matter." In almost every video, this white girl said, "You matter." Hey there, black man. Good morning. Booty Pre here. I just want you to know that you matter. You are important. And don't you ever forget that. I love you so much. I'm dead serious. And apparently, she has a massive audience. And this guy was responding to her video. Like, man, what is this? Like, why does she feel that we need to... Does anybody know who I'm talking about? Because I'm looking for the video right now and I can't find it. Yeah, Booty Pre. It's real crazy. It's real awkward. And I want to respond to him, but I can't find the video. But anyway, this guy, he assumed that she was trying to monetize our dysfunction. Y'all probably seen the video. He was like, hey, there's people out here who see that we're so dysfunctional that they're trying to monetize it. And he was using that as an example. Like, hey, look at this woman talking to us like we don't got no self-esteem because we sit around, talking about how we don't have no self-esteem? No. Every video, she would say, hey, black man, hey, beautiful black man, I love you. You matter. You matter. She would always say, you matter. Matter. You matter. You all always remember that you matter. Where do you think she getting that from? Black Lives Matter. I'm going to respond to that guy. Because his video got a lot of views on it. I'm going to respond to that guy. Because he was wrong about that. What she was actually doing was she was under the impression that Black Lives Matter, the organization, was actually invented by black Americans. And I want all people to know that. That's one of the negative things about Black Lives Matter. When people start thinking that especially black men, she was under the impression that black men invented. And I heard a lot of them say this. Man, Black Lives Matter, the phrase itself is synonymous with black Americans. Many people will want to say something about black Americans and instead use code talk, say Black Lives Matter. And I've been saying for years, black men would have never created nothing like that. We would have never invented no phrase, no slogan like that. Black Lives Matter. That is a defeated, very defeated organization. And we see why. Because it was not invented by black Americans. And I need everybody to understand that and always say, that's the number one thing you need to remember when you think of Black Lives Matter. It was not invented by black men. Black men. I'm saying black men, because all of our historic organizations were created by black men. If you look at some of the prominent historical figures in black America, you're gonna find some black women in there who are being recognized for supporting the suffrage movement. My point is, we don't create organizations like that begging for mercy. During the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King got a lot of backlash, and it wasn't really talked about in the mainstream. He got a lot of backlash for that passive approach, the spineless tactics that no man could respect. I speak out against that to this day. You can't get respect in this world as men by bowing down at the feet of the men you begging for mercy from. Those images, for example, of black people on the steps of the Capitol and in the Washington, D.C., on their hands and knees, praying, begging for mercy. Oh, have mercy on us. Oh, stop the beating. That type of stuff is like this stuff right here. This stuff right here. Boy, this is what I'm talking about right here. Same thing, and it was the same thing. It got replayed with that kneeling during the, but that was kind of different because it was during the national anthem. But they got a lot of, Martin Luther King and civil rights movement, they got a lot of backlash for this type of stuff. In some cases, they'd be laid down on the ground. I mean, if a big, burly, dusty man bowed down, could you ever view him as your equal? No. No. It is not in us to make slogans like, our life matters. It feels wrong to even have to make that statement. If you got to try to reassure people that your life matters, man, if they don't already know that, if they don't already act on the fact that, yeah, your life matters just like any human person, any human's life matter, then you got a problem already. Now, you got other problems you need to deal with. It's not our organization. And I had to point that out. And don't be surprised if I respond to that guy. It'll be a pre-recorded video if I do. Anyway, let me get out of it. I can't believe I've been on here 2.5 hours. I need to get this out of my system now. And I will be back next week.